a question here today. So the first one, I'm going to put my whanaunga here under the pump first thing. Commissioners in schools, who's really footing the bill? Is the appropriate support in place to help rectify issues before costly commissioners are put into place? How can these pay rates be justified? So, tēnei pātai e te whanaunga comes from the fact of a lot of our kura, especially one near and dear to our heart, which is Moerewa, and I've heard a lot of our whanaunga here talking about their connectedness to Moerewa. Nō reira, koina te pātai, mehe mea tā koe te whakautu.
Kia ora tātou katoa. Firstly, I think it's important for us to focus on positive education for our tamariki. We know that that a commissioner going into a school is the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. So in order for that to happen, for positive education for our tamariki, one, it's about getting the curriculum right. Two, it's about providing an environment where our kids can learn and feel safe in. And three, it's about empowering our community to govern its own school. There's no point establishing a voting on a board that do not have the skills to run the school. So it's important that we ensure that right people get into the right positions and into the school. Koina te mea tuatahi. Tuarua, commissioners, we know they come into the school. We know who foots the bill. It's our tamariki who foot the bill. We know that. Why? Because recently in Moerewa, obviously I was involved with a lot of that mahi with the commissioner and with the raru that took place between us and the Ministry of Education. That man took learning resources away from our tamariki. So we know that the price that's paid is our kids' education, and that's not right. Further on, the commissioner, of course, his rates are what they are. And I'll be honest with you, they're actually market rate. It sounds stink, but he actually earns just below the market rate on those types of roles. So first of all, we don't want people like that in our community. Secondly, we want an education system and a school that will look after and provide for our tamariki. And finally, I want our community to have more involvement in our school. And I mean that by ways of governance, by ways of teaching, by ways of curriculum, by ways of supporting our tamariki. Kia ora.
So can I just do a quick test before we carry on? So I'm hearing the claps are a little bit quiet down the back here. So can we just do just a quick experiment to see if everybody's actually paying attention up the front here? So when I do this, can everybody clap nice and quietly? Let's give it a try. That's quite sarcastic. Fine up. Okay, when I do this, can we do a really loud one there? Okay, and also it's about an attention test, tēnei. Ready? Ka pai, kia ora tātou mā. Just checking. I like to make sure we've got a captive audience, ne? More so for my sake than this. Okay, tuarua. Pātai tēnei kia koe Calvin. Te reo in schools, promised but undelivered in the past. What assurances is there that this time it will be acted upon in good faith? How can we ensure sufficient and effective teachers are in place and that the learning environments are appropriate for the support? Kia ora.
Kia ora. Right, first of all, te reo should be available to anybody who wants it to be available. So in Ngāti Hine here, it should be available for every student and every whānau who wishes te reo Māori to be, for their children to learn in te reo Māori. That's the first thing. Now it's not happening because we don't have the breadth or the numbers of teachers that we need to make sure that it does happen. There's very few te reo Māori speaking teachers across Aotearoa. So that's the first thing, we need to grow our te reo base. So it's a bit of a catch-22 situation where we don't have enough te reo Māori speakers coming through, but we don't have enough because we don't have teachers. Just on one point, there's a new te reo Māori bill going through the House, an amendment, sorry, and it has in it an organisation called Te Matauranga, which is going to be responsible for te reo Māori across the country. Now I have concerns because Te Matauranga has one representative from the middle of Auckland right through to the Cape. Now, that one person is meant to represent all the interests of every iwi, of which there's about 10 or 11, and then you have an iwi like Ngāpuhi that's got dozens and dozens of hapu. Where are their interests going to be represented by the one person on Te Mātāwai? And I use the example of Te Kaputai, who have a kohanga reo, who have a kura, and have a te reo Māori plan. Where is their voice going to be heard in this organisation called Te Mātāwai? Now, it may be heard. We need to go to select committee to have all the discussions, but my concern is that Ngāti Hine here and every other iwi and every other hapu won't have representation on Te Mātāwai. And I'm not sure that it's going to address growing te reo Māori speakers throughout Aotearoa.
Councillor. All right, moving right along. So this partai here is for our newcomer in the from the Focus Party there. Whānau-driven leadership and governance of our schools. Nessa, we heard you touch upon the fact that you guys have all come from members who, from industries that are well known to our people. So what is your opinion on the role of MOE in the selection or appointment of board members to a school? What support will be offered at the bottom ground force, hands-on levels at the management to allow for whānau and hapu governance and for our kura? Ka pai?
I have to say thank you for the question. We haven't deliberated too deeply on that, and we would defer to these people for experience, but we will tell you that I had 20 years in a chairman of a school, and I do understand what happens there. I have a daughter Dallas, who's very active in the commissioner's role, and so I do know what goes on. And I'll say to you that boards can work well, but they do need education, and there needs to be a lot of strong support from government. It should be one of the first details that the government deals with. So boards need support, they need training, they need to understand why the rules are there, not just here's your rule book, tell you why you have meeting kaupapa, why you use the a resolution and why you keep minutes. All those are details that often people think who manage their lives without it, they get there and they don't understand the detail of why those rules are there. So certainly a lot of education. There should be no effort, no lack of effort in supporting that kaupapa. But Focus New Zealand has got a strong policy, and it is on early childhood. We tell you if you invest in early childhood, you invade the space in an early time of children when they're going off the rails, that's the time. Don't pick them up in the prison, don't pick them up off the streets, you invade the space of the parents who aren't performing. That's Focus New Zealand's view. Kia ora.
Moving along, te pātai nei, Mawe e pita. Northland University versus prison. We want our people to fill universities, not prisons. Here in the north we have a correctional facility but a lack of tertiary education providers. Why is this? Why is the likelihood of establishment of tertiary education provider in our region, if according to demographics, Māori are less educated, more likely to be unemployed and more likely to be incarcerated? What education programs can be implemented to cater for all types of learners?
That's the first
and to engage learners in schools.
Kia ora mai ia tātou. E tātou mā, ia mātou o Aotearoa tūtahi, horekau I tautoko I te agatū e whare herere, kei mauhere wa tātou whanaunga karanga maha. And the reason is, why are they ending up there? Because of the education system. And we believe that here in Northland, we ought to have more tertiary facilities available to our people. And if you look at the impact that Te Whare Wānanga had on the number of our people here in the north. Quite clearly, we have the capacity to deal with tertiary education. The thing is, what we have to do as parents is not leave the responsibility of teaching or educating our children to the school. We've got to take a more active role in that in that role. And if you look at Calvin and Willow Jean, they are an example of the assistance and the commitment that their parents made to their education. People will contradict the education system. My question is, why is it that people like Willow and Calvin are making it through the system? It's the same system that we all have access to. We have to play a role in the education of our children. In terms of having a tertiary institution here in the north already, when I was the chairman of the Northland Polytech Council, we established a relationship with Massey. And I always wondered, why did we go to Massey instead of Auckland? And I understand that that has changed. Te Whare Wānanga o Aotearoa has a working relationship with the Polytech. What we need to do is avail ourselves of those relationships so that we have easy access to those institutions and that we don't have to go and leave the region. And the sad part about it is they don't come back.
Seeing as that partai was quite a big partai there, I didn't actually realise it covered 2 pages.
Oh, so you're giving me another 2 minutes?
And given in to take 10 miles, But I would like to ask Clinton if you'd like to add on to that corridor as well.
MLEs, they call them modern learning environments. I call them Māori learning environments because the environment that we wish to create for our students is based on tikanga Māori. So the government's doing a big push on it. I'm sitting at a school, it's called Stonefield, they don't have bells. I work at a kura, called Kura Kaupapa Māori o Pukemiro. We don't have bells there. We've got open classes. We've got kaumātua kuia coming into the school, he mau te reo o te kāinga, a marata hoki tāpuatanga ki haka ki ngia hoki ngā me whakaro o ngā me tamariki mai i te hau kāinga. So mahi ai hoki ngā me kaumātua kuia, haere mai i te raroa, haere mai ngai takato, haere mai hoki i te āhuatanga o muri whenua, kia ki pai hoki te āhua nei o ngā me kura nei. E kore ngā me classrooms me ki i akamama. Pēnei te āhuatanga o te whakaro māku mo tātou katoa i roti i te ao Māori. Kia pupuri ai hoki ki te āhuatanga tō tātou nei tupuna. Kei roto hoki i tēnei mea kaupapa, ka ki tai hoki te huarahi pai mo tātou o ngā me tamariki. E mō hioke tātou hoki te āhuatanga o ngā me te tahu. Haurua o tō tātou nei tamariki, horakau e haere ki ngā me whare wānanga, horakau e whiwhi ana te NCA level 1, kore e tae. Kia haunake he pupuri ki te whakaro nei, and first you don't succeed, don't try parachuting. I roto i tēnei me āhuatanga, if it's not working for our children, use anything. 50% of our children are leaving school with nothing. You've got a school, 1,500 students that used to be there at Kamo High School down to 800. Hey, 50% of their children have gone. They don't have any qualifications. We need to expand. Just with the prisons, that is our university. Because every single one of my whānau that are in Ngāwhara at the moment, depending on the length of their lag, should be doing a certificate in Māori studies, should be doing a diploma in Māori studies, should be doing a bachelor, and heaven forbid if they're in there for 7 years, they should be doing a PhD. Compulsory for te reo Māori in prisons, no matter who you are, when you go in there, come out, got te reo, find a job for them, educate them properly.
Tēnei whātai, kia koe e hone. One I know that's near and dear to your heart, feed the children. You can't learn when you're hungry. How can you better support this kaupapa? Do you support it? Te tuatai? Does this take the responsibility of providing lunch for our children away from parents, becoming reliant on a system? How can this be monitored?
I won't talk about Feed the Kids. You fellas know what our kaupapa is on Feed the Kids. We introduced the bloody bill, for God's sake. So, Hoinana. We get back to the reo. This is a very simple one. If we want the reo to be respected in this country, then we should be making it a core subject of every school curriculum. Just like maths, just like English, just like science. That's how you lift the value of the reo right across the country. You make it a core curriculum subject. On another take about commissioners in schools, you know, we end up with commissioners in schools if we're not strong enough to look after our school properly. You know, sometimes we have to look at what it is that we're doing. Are we availing ourselves of the training that is available? Because this fellow will know and Calvin will know there's a lot of training that's available out there. Are we taking it up? Of course we shouldn't have to pay for the commissioner. The ministry sent him in. Ministry should bloody pay for him. That's real simple. As far as the whole jail thing is concerned and tertiary education, here's the real tough question, folks. If we had one, and it was a Māori one, would we send our kids there? Probably not. I say that because I know a lot of my friends who've gone up in the world, and they stopped sending their kids to kura. They stopped sending their kids to kohanga. They stopped sending their kids to wharekura. They send them to all of these other schools. So when people say that we should have one and we should control one, ask yourself really, would you send your child there instead of going to Auckland University? Yes. Ka pai, le mihi atu ki a koe. If this wānanga up here ran the best program that my mokopuna was after, I'd certainly send them here. But if they weren't, I wouldn't. I want the best for my children and the best for my mokopuna. I stay at Te Rangiā Niwa. I've been on the board there for 21 years because I absolutely believe in it. All my kids went to kohanga, they all went to kura, they all went to wharekura. Tēnā koutou, kia ora tātou katoa.
Hey, it was a race against you if I could get it in before you come up here. All right, moving right along. Kia koe e marama. Here's your pātai. Youth education to raise awareness on Parliament. So mohi ona mātou, everybody knows about the Greens Party's stance on te taiao. So here's a bit of a left-wing one for you, Pia. Governance and elections and civil liberties. What would this look like? How can you bring relevance to youth to encourage them to vote? Sort of.
Kia ora koutou katoa. At number 20 on the Green Party list is a 21-year-old called Jack McDonald. I forgot to say at the beginning that the Green Party are all looking for the party vote. Kei ao koutou te pōti tangata, engari ko te tuatahi ma mātou te pōti party. We are looking for the party vote because the party vote is also what will get me into Parliament because I'm high up on the list at number 15. But at number 20 is 21-year-old Jack McDonald, who is our Te Tai Hauāuru candidate, and he stood in 2011 as an just turned 18-year-old, and he is very clear, and the Green Party will support him to have civics educations in schools. And part of that is because we don't have the habit of understanding how voting counts, or how engaging in local council counts, or central government, and why is it relevant. And we need to build that culture for our rangatahi of why their voice and their vote is important, and how they can maybe submit to other legislation about their own community. So Jack McDonald has been a clear, regular and consistent voice on having civics educations in schools and community, and the Green Party would absolutely support that we get that also as a core, I like that word core subject in our schools as well. Kia ora.
Tēnei pātai, kia koe Willow. Do you have any intentions to implement a Te Tiriti o Waitangi education plan to revitalise the rich history of this whenua and the occupants upon it? How can this be delivered safely to include kaitiakitanga and tino rangatiratanga?
E pātai pai tēnā mō te roi a tiriti. For many of you, you probably are familiar with my background in treaty law and in the Waitangi tribunal process. I absolutely support the inclusion of Te Tiriti o Waitangi in our education. I actually am invited to speak to schools about Te Tiriti o Waitangi and the mahi that we're doing within our hapu, and it's really an honour to go out there and talk to these students about it. I've been invited by teachers who are actually from the UK to deliver our version of that history in our schools. And I think that that's really important. If it is to be incorporated, I think that it has to be from the evidence that we, our local hapu, have presented to the Waitangi Tribunal. I know that already there is value in the process. Our hapu at Te Kapotai have included their claims evidence into their curriculum from our kohanga right through at the kura as well. Ngāti Hine just presented our evidence 2 weeks ago at Pipiwai, so Hinare Marae. There is over 10,000 pages of evidence there which will be useful for our schools. The report on he whakaputanga e Te Tiriti o Waitangi will be out in October. I hope that that is incorporated into our curriculum as well. And with the time that I've got left, because we might not get another go at education, education is a priority for me, one of my top 5. My husband teaches at Bay of Islands College. Yay! But it is also a priority for the Labour Party. Now, 20 seconds. So, right from our babies, we're increasing early education to 25 free hours, from 20 to 25. Coming through to our tamariki and our kura, we want to reduce class sizes by increasing teachers by 2,000 teachers. We want to also have modern schools. We want kids with technology. We want reading recovery teachers in there. So we've got a lot of policies. Check out our website. Check out my Facebook page. Kia ora.
And finally, to our whanaunga te hira, I think this is a good coming home present, tēnei bro. Generational change and shift in Māori politics. The young Māori faces in politics a critical movement from New Zealand to Aotearoa. Do you see a place in society for a holistic Māori worldview?
Awe te pātai. Whānau, we have 3 generations here. Matua, Koro, Rita, Uncle Hone, Calvin, brother, and us, young bucks. 3 generations. Amazing. I reflect on 3 generations and I think of my koro and my kuia. And then, myself and Rupene were brought up at Hone Waititi Marae. It was natural for us to rub shoulders with the pokoko who are tauhenare, his kids, John Tamihere's kids, James Jones' kids, even the Harawitas. We were all at school together and it was a good thing. And we didn't differentiate politics in Wellington and us in Hone Waititi Marae. It was natural. We could kōrero with them, and we were lucky for that. We had the opportunity to go over to their houses on Saturday and get up to fun. But we had a forum where what we saw is, man, one day I can be there. And this is me trying here tonight. We need to change the face of politics. It's puruhete. Nā kōrero whakawhiu, that's not us. Wairua Māori, kaupapa Māori, tikanga Māori, our grandparents taught us better than that. And if it takes a person like me to put up my billboard, I maka taku papa mo te hahi, e tei Pākehā ki ana, is this imposter? Puruhete katoa ana, wana kākahu e orite ana, ki te minita. He pono he tūturu. Politics for me is not only in this forum or in Wellington or in the Beehive. We were born into it. We were born out of it. Tātou, me puta mai ngā kura ngā kohanga, kia u, kia maia, kia kaha. We have the responsibility to do something.
Oh, ka pai. Can I get a general showing of cards around all our discussion there? Sort of, where's everybody's head at so far in terms of the kōrero? Was everybody listening? It's all right to pick the parts that you like, just a general overview. Are we heading in the right direction? Oh, showing of hands, aye. Kia ora tātou mā. Those cards are put out for a reason, so I'm just sort of getting a gauge. Am I seeing what I want to see?